Everyone, I am Carmen Michael, the professional mic holder.
Everyone, it's Alexis Cardoza.
What's up, everybody? It's the Wild Rhino Clark Connors from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I am here getting wild, drinking an 805.
Hey, this is Billy Starks.
Rip F and Bison. I ran out of booze.
I am the fire starter, the Carney Killer. I am born to die, Jake Crist.
This is Bobby Olson.
This is Anthrax of H2O.
My name's Christopher Landon, Anthony Streeter.
My name is Frank Minetti.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Red Air and one half of the PH Boys from Hood Classic Entertainment, representing the Hood Boys, the PH Boys, Purple Haze, Prince Alexander.
This is Martin Stone, the original Strong Style Hooligan.
And today, you have the privilege
of drinking at Moe's.
And you know I'm drinking with Mo.
And you are drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinking Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're filling out your order, use the code Drinking at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody, Drinking Moe's, my 2 cents. Big Mo here, Nate here, Jesse here again. But before we get too far into it, disclaimer! The opinions stated in this show are those of the people talking and theirs alone. We are not affiliated with any wrestler or promotion. Like our opinions or not, that's just it. Their opinions. Wrestling is subjective. Now that shit's over. All right. So, this week, God damn it, allergies kicking my ass today. What we are doing today's on is a kind of what if scenario. You've seen it on, Disney Plus with Marvel. But this one is going to be different wrestling related scenarios, whether or not what would happen if one thing didn't start off a whole series of events. And I figured, what better way to start it off on than one that could have many different things spiraling from it. And that's what if Eddie Guerrero never passed away? Because, it affected a lot of people. Judging from, one of my favorite WrestleMania moments in WrestleMania 20, when Benoit and Guerrero ended the show in the ring with both of their respective titles, not realizing how close they were to not having one of those guys there.
Right.
And then that is credited with being what was the tipping over point for Benoit in a bit of a downward spiral that he went on, and why he's now basically erased from history.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm one to say that if Eddie Guerrero never passed away, at least at that point, because I don't mean to go on a spiritual journey there, but we all know our time's coming eventually.
Mhm.
But
it's better than you going on a rant.
fuck you. Anyways, God damn it! I told you not to get me laughing too fucking hard. But you know, there's the thought of, you know, what would happen towards the end of Guerrero's career. Would he take the road that a lot of people seem to be taking now and doing a bit of a, you know, either on the main roster or on NXT, taking a bit of a backstage producer type role? Or would he still be involved in WWE at all? Would he be involved in some other promotion in said aspects? Because we all know the mind that Eddie Guerrero had for the damn business, that he would have fit very damn well in that role.
Just imagine some of the matches he could have produced with some of the talent that's here today. Like,
oh god,
back to, you know, previous episode going on favorite stuff. Javon Evans is in NXT right now. He was Jay Malachi on the indie scene. A match with him and anybody probably on that roster with Eddie Guerrero's guidance would have been, that's a banger. And the thing is, like, he's already having those bangers and stuff like that. But like the mindset, like you said, of Eddie Guerrero and for the business and everything, that man he would be making mega stars in you know, main roster NXT anywhere.
Imagine putting him behind this whole storyline with the LWO and Legado. Having him being the mind behind that. Holy shit, it'd be even better than it already is.
Exactly. You'd have him and Rey Mysterio just bouncing ideas off of each other on that one.
No, hell, they're part of the damn original.
Exactly.
What, Nate?
I agreed. Yeah, they were both part of the original LWO and the double WCW days.
Yeah. So yeah, no, thinking that, and then, you know, you go into, you know, all the stories, especially from hell, the Dark Side of the Ring, some of my favorite non like in ring wrestling content out there.
Yep.
Like they just have the stories, and you know, you go back to the episode they did, I believe it was one of the first 2-parter episodes they did. I think it was that and the Owen Hart tragedy that were like some of the first 2-part episodes they did. And in Benoit's one, they often go back to how Eddie Guerrero's passing affected him after, like him being at Eddie and Vicky's place and, you know, just laying on the couch or on the bed and just crying his eyes out. Like, just thinking maybe if Eddie hadn't passed, let's say Eddie gets towards his, you know, retirement phase before Benoit would have.
Right.
Maybe he could have been there to kind of talk some sense into Benoit and being like, hey, maybe it's about time. Because, I mean, I think, not to interrupt you, I think if I remember right, in the Benoit episode of Dark Side of the Ring, they were talking about how some of Benoit's family was trying to convince him to just be done. So you think if Eddie hadn't passed, maybe he would have been that one opinion that would, you know, finally tip it over into him thinking, you know what, maybe it is about that time.
The one that he needed, especially from all the head injuries that he had suffered. It's just injuries on top of injuries, regardless. Like, obviously, you know, head injuries aren't going to be, you know, anything better than, hey, I broke my wrist. Hey, I did this move wrong and now my neck's messed up or something. The head trauma, it would have been good to see him retire. And again, with the fact of, Eddie Guerrero, if he been alive, I think they may have retired at the same time. I think
they're very logical idea there. Yeah, they
maybe
they, have a Mania match.
Match with both of them together.
Exactly. Have a Mania match, and then they both put the boots in the ring. Ooh,
that
would have been
that is a good idea. That would have been something. One of them, maybe Eddie does it first, and then you see Benoit looking like he's maybe about to get out of the ring, but then he goes back, takes off his boots, and puts them right next to his.
Maybe even he does get out of the ring with Eddie, and they they do like a little hug thing, and they're starting to walk, and he's like, nah. And he goes back to the ring, and then he starts taking it off, and you see Eddie, they pan over to him, and he's just like in awe, like he's doing it too, like that would have been some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah. And then
you bring up the whole mental health. You remember when they did the autopsy? Do you remember what they said about his brain?
It looked like the brain of a 90-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what happens when one of your signature moves is a headbutt off the top rope.
And you're taking unprotected headshots for 10 years, man. Honestly, like before they banned them, it's crazy to think about. I don't know if you guys realized or thought about it like this, but chair shots to the head, they got banned with Jeff Hardy in WWE. It was after one of his headshots that got it banned, right? Then you get, not 10 years, it was probably about 5 years later. He's in TNA and then takes a chair shot to the back of the head, and then they ban chair shots to the head. I'm like, man, stop taking those damn chair shots to the head. Jeff, you don't need to, man. Come on. Like he took one to the back of the dome, and it like split him wide open, and I was like, that is horrendous. Or no, maybe he hit Mr. Anderson. That's who it was. And he didn't pull and all that. Oh, it was gross.
Yeah. Those are some brutal stuff.
And like I said, if they had gotten banned 10, 15 years beforehand, hey, maybe he has a longer career. Maybe he thrives a little bit more. Maybe maybe Eddie thrives a little bit more because shit, we don't know. They might have been getting those headaches and shit like that, and that might have been what caused Eddie to. No.
Yeah, I think with Eddie, and I might be mistaken. I think it was, he had all these substance use issues, for all those years, and he was finally getting clean. But all those years of those substance use issues does damage to, your different organs, your heart, your liver, all of that. And I'm wanting to say it was an enlarged heart that was the part of the cause of Eddie's passing. And that, he was open to having had steroid use at different points. And that alone, depending on how long you do it, that your heart and all sorts of organ issues that you could have, that even when you stop, those organs have already been damaged for all that time, that, even if you stop, if those organs heal, it's going to take a while.
You still have those long-term effects and everything. You still have the long-term, side effects of the drug use, the steroid use, the drinking, even the smoking, nicotine, all that everything. It's going to take a toll on you. And like you said, even if it does heal up, it's going to be over time. And that time is going to be a long time, depending on how bad you damaged them,
Oh, yeah. And like I've used to work with kids with substance use issues, and that first little bit that they're there is all detox, and seeing the effects of that and trying to get all that garbage out of your system it's not a pleasant experience.
No.
But I would just like to think that, like we've kind of gone over, if Eddie wouldn't have passed, maybe he would have been that little voice in Benoit's ear that would have been like, hey, it's about time. And it's been stated how much Benoit valued Eddie's opinion. So if there were anybody that would have convinced him outside of his family, it would have been Eddie.
Exactly, especially coming from somebody in the business that you started in the business with, coming through, the ECW stuff, and then going to WWF and all that, or WCW, whatever, wherever they went.
New Japan, the stuff they did there, yeah.
Yep. Like I said, coming in with Dean Malenko and all that too. Those were good times. Yeah, he would be the voice of reason behind Benoit, probably, cutting it short, and then hopefully, if it were to happen, or if it did at that point, hopefully he could have got some medical treatment, then got something going for himself, got on some sort of medication that wasn't harmful to him.
Yeah, because hell, there's the whole CTE issue. It's been stated, like, especially in the NFL players that have been through it. Like when I was in San Diego, when I was finishing up my time in the Navy, I was going through the class they have you take as you're getting ready to process out. And one time when I was in, like, I had gotten a hotel room off of the ship, and I go back and I start watching TV, and wouldn't you know, it's the news about Junior Seau and how he had for a while a restaurant there, like a sports bar type place out in, I forget what part of San Diego, but there was a lot of stories coming out of, like, erratic behavior during times that he'd be at that restaurant. And as with the Benoit situation, you hear about a lot of erratic behavior that happened in that last little bit that he was alive. And you'd think, if I don't know what treatment there is to kind of, I don't know if there is a possibility of kind of at least somewhat of reversing the effects. I know former wrestler Christopher Nowinski, he's doing a lot of research on that. So hell, maybe he'll figure something out.
Yeah, I saw that like a year ago, actually, that he was doing a bunch of that stuff. Yeah, hopefully he gets a lot of that stuff figured out, because it could save a lot of the younger talent and stuff like that. Even some of the more tenured guys, like hell.
Oh yeah. I was just trying to think of it was actually Nowitzki that reached out to Benoit's dad about getting Benoit's brain so they could study it to get the effects. And that's where the whole thing that Nate brought up about finding out that he basically had the brain of a 90-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
And that's crazy to think about, especially, like, just thinking about he or they wanted to do those untrained, or not untrained, those the chair shots to the head.
Unprotected ones.
Protected. I said untrained. I look, my brain's words are hard. It hurts,
Yeah.
My thinking's giving me a little problem. But yeah, no, they kind of, back in those days, they wanted to. They're like, yeah, let's make it look as good as it can, and this, that, and the other. I could do without them. The chair shots to the back are enough for me.
Yeah.
That go after an ankle or something,
if they're done right.
Yeah, if they're done right, yeah.
Did you see this past AEW? Oh, what was that here? I don't know. This past AEW, Ricky Starks hit Will Hobbs with a chair in the back. cracked.
You know what? I was that on Rampage or Collision?
It was Collision, I believe.
Okay, I got it. That I'll probably be watching after we get done recording here.
Fair enough.
Because
Yeah,
I was
at
a fundraiser thing last night, so I didn't get to watch it.
Right.
Although I did hear about Matt Cardona popping.
I also saw on X today. I was like, wow.
So I don't know how much he's going to be getting used, but
I mean, to MLW right now.
I'm wanting to say so, but I mean,
they definitely did a promo speech for him for when I want to say Alex Kane was still champion,
I think he still is there.
Is he? Because, like I say, I know they did that video package, and he was just standing there, and they were like the most talked about indie guy, and I'm here or something like that. And I was like, huh. I didn't know if it was a one-off or if he was getting signed. That would be cool, though.
That would be pretty cool.
I would love him in AEW. That would just be fantastic. Good business.
They seem to be a little more indie friendly.
Oh yeah, especially just looking at the roster that they've grabbed up. I like half the roster. I know people are like, oh, flippy this, flippy that. Dude, I love all that stuff. I love all kinds of wrestling. Like I really, it's like like the disclaimer, it's subjective, man. Half the stuff that people that I hang out with don't like, I thoroughly enjoy. I'm like, oh, a comedic match, I'm in, you know. Oh, we're talking about Microman versus Alex Hammerstone. Come on. You know,
or this stuff that R-Truth is doing right now. Holy
exactly.
Fuck.
Love it.
He's gold right now, man.
Dude, he's like 55 years old too. That man's pretty up there just for, wrestling's sake. Like he's been around the block. He came out, as K-Quick back in the day. I love that. K-Quick. You had Ron the Truth Killings in TNA, and then you have, R-Truth now. I actually was at a show it was here in Omaha, but I was at a show that it was probably 2010, 2011 when they had the brand split. He was on SmackDown. We went to a SmackDown Super Show. It was a 4-hour show because they did 2 tapings, and it was amazing. I didn't go home until like 11 o'clock. It was great. I was a little kid. Anyways, not really a little kid, I guess, but I was there, and I'm looking down. Where I'm sitting is like in the crowd. I'm looking down, and I look down again. R-Truth standing right there, coming out of the crowd. You know how you come out of the crowd and rap? Right there. Literally not even a seat from me because I was on the edge. I looked down, he's right there. I was like, what the hell? It's crazy. It was one of my best times. Actually, you know what's even better about that show? Jeff Hardy, that pyro incident happened. Yeah. It wasn't good, but like I was there to witness that. It was a big moment in my life, and
oh God, hell, we could go over all sorts of stuff on a what if about Jeff Hardy. No offense to Jeff Hardy, but there's a lot of stuff involving him that we could go off of on a what if.
We love Jeff Hardy around these parts. That's who I grew up on, all that stuff. I mean, I love, and I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling. So
same.
Big
Nate,
fan.
You've been a little quiet lately. What do you got?
A little.
Well, I've got my microphone muted because you're picking up the TV. So, you guys were going off on your little tangents about how, if Eddie was still around, we might still have Benoit. I was actually going a different route. What would happen? Huh? Benoit balls? No, not Benoit balls. I was thinking more along the lines of where wrestling would be, period, if Eddie was still around. Because rumor and innuendo says that Eddie was penciled in to win the World Heavyweight Championship before he passed away. And then, we had to flip the script, and, would Rey Mysterio have won the world title at WrestleMania?
That too, yeah.
That's true.
How many of the current stars that we have right now that have used Eddie Guerrero as a that's what I'm looking for.
Launching pad.
As a launching pad, as you know what they're basing a lot of stuff. Sasha Banks comes to mind.
Yep.
You know, whoever else was using, that, how many of them would be around?
Yeah,
it's true.
I would like to think that a lot of them,
they're not going to be around. They just won't have that kind of a backup.
I would want to say that a lot of them would still be around. It just, the Eddie Guerrero references wouldn't be used in the manner of Eddie having passed away. Like, they might even be able to use Eddie Guerrero in those instances, like they've done Sting in AEW, with Darby. They could have done something similar to that, but with Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, however you want to refer to her as, or
exactly
any number of people like the current LWO, or you could have it go the bad guy route with Legado. There's all sorts of ways that could have gone about, just not using Eddie's passing as that jump off point. It would just be Eddie maybe even being involved with them as like a managerial type role.
Right.
That like they're doing Savio at the Puerto Rico show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they use Savio as a cheap pop because he's Puerto Rican.
He still runs the promotion down there.
They had Carlito come out. Here's the problem. Only one of those two people are still under contract with WWE right now. So that kind of makes these go, maybe they just use Savio for the cheap pop.
Yeah.
Possible. I'm not saying they didn't. I mean,
Bad Bunny's ovation over there was insane.
Oh God, that gives me goosebumps even thinking about it right now.
Every time, dude. It is so I love showing people that. Like when I'll get song requests when I'm up at Scores, they'll be like, "Hey, can I hear Bad Bunny?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got you." Like, did you know he was in wrestling? And they were like, "What?" And I'd show them that, and they're like, "What the?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude."
And that
crazy,
whole crowd going word for word with his music
and bouncing with it, and
or you tie that in and you show Samantha Irvin announcing him.
Oh,
and you're watching her do that. It's like, holy crap. Now, granted, Samantha Irvin's doing a great as far as announcing, but there, I mean,
you want to talk about one of the best ring announcers out there right now? She's right fucking up there.
I gotta throw in like a cheap plug for somebody that I followed on X. There's this dude in like New Texas Pro that does the announcing in there. I don't know his name. I don't know him by name. Sure, if I looked him up again, I could find him. But he announced Bounty Keith.
Oh, the bounty hunter. Yeah.
Yeah. The passion that guy has to announce people is insane. I want to say his name's like Carmen Michael or something. I don't want to butcher that. I apologize.
If it's him, I know he does a lot for New South Wrestling, and I think he has gone down to Texas, but I have actually had him on the interviews.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, like I said, I saw a video of him just announcing Bounty Keith and then whoever his opponent was, I don't remember who it was, but I was just like so in awe. Like the match was good and everything, but like his presentation of everything, I was like, wow.
And man, that dude does a little bit of everything. From like, it's been stated as far as he goes that like from the moment he gets to the venue to when everybody's done, he is just go the entire time, helping out with all sorts of stuff.
I love it. Let me see. I'm going
to try. The funny thing is, speaking of Brian Keith, you remember when we met him at the Revolver show?
Yeah.
And we got to talking about the progression of his gimmick.
Yeah.
AEW Unrestricted actually had him on And he actually explained the exact same thing that we had discussed, which I just thought was cool as hell.
Yeah.
And, like me, I went down and saw reality wrestling and saw him in his cowboy gimmick. And then to see him progress from that cowboy gimmick into the bounty hunter, at the time, one of the most sought after indie guys.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the few indie guys that I say, yeah, he needed to get signed. Because WWE wasn't going to look at him.
That's why I said AEW is a little more indie friendly when it comes to that.
And the thing is,
it's true.
He got signed to WWE, or not WWE, AEW. He got signed to AEW because I believe they were in Texas. And we know, a lot of, WWE, AEW, not so much TNA or anyone else. They'll call the locals and have them come in for shows.
Oh, yeah. That's how the whole AEW dark thing.
Khan or whoever does the booking for AEW called around and said, can we get these guys? And there's like, sure. Brian Keith was one of the guys that was sitting there as an extra, was sitting there, and Tony Khan come walking by. He's shaking everyone's hand. Hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Walks into the writer's room and says, why is Brian Keith with the extras? He should be on our show. Which in turn wound up him having a match in his home state. I can't remember where they were at, but they're in Texas against, I think, Eddie Kingston. I'm not sure.
I think it might have been, yeah.
And that was the impetus for them to sign Brian Keith.
Ooh. I just got this idea going back to the Eddie Guerrero stuff. Listen to this. The whole bounty hunter gimmick going up against or whoever that Eddie might have been aligned with at the time and still doing the whole lie, cheat, and steal thing. The bounty hunter going and trying to face off or hunt down whoever that might be, if not Eddie himself. Man, that would have been epic.
Oh, that's a storyline and a half right there. I like that.
The only problem I see with that is WWE back in the 90s tried something like that with one of the failed sightings of Barry Windham. Okay, so when they first signed him, the U.S. Express, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Barry Windham.
Oh, yes.
He does his run in NWA, WCW, finishes up there, signs with the WWE, and they make him the Widowmaker. I'm not sure where that was going. It only lasted a couple months. He goes back to WCW. He does a couple months there. They bring him back as the Stalker, which is kind of a bounty hunter / big game hunter type thing. You're shaking your head like you know what I'm talking about. It was about the time when Goldust was starting to pick up a little bit of steam. And unfortunately, they portrayed him as a stalker. Not a stalker as in a big game stalker, like, ooh, there's a lion, we're going to go hunt. No, they portrayed him as a creeper stalker.
Yep.
Like DDP going and trying to hunt down Undertaker's ex-wife.
They made him a blackjack, and, well,
that was unhinged.
We all know how far that went.
I figured out. Sorry. Back to what I was talking about. It wasn't Carmen Michael. It was his name is On Air Ted. But that's the guy that was announcing.
Okay.
Back to what we were talking about. I apologize. I had to, dude. I was not letting that one go. I was not letting it go.
No, hey,
I had to go look at who I followed, and I was like scrolling. I'm like, who is it? Who is it?
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I get it.
He did some stuff.
You can ask him. There's times when we're talking about stuff, and just now I was sitting there looking up, seeing what Eddie Guerrero died from. Stuff like that.
Right.
We recorded on the night of Wrestle Dream. Remember this? We recorded on the same night that Wrestle Dream was going off of, and I'm sitting there doing this, and I was like, okay, I'm looking at my phone because we're both on Edge Watch.
Right.
And it wasn't, 5 minutes after we got done recording and we got out, closed everything up. I go to bed that night, wake up the next morning, and the entire, Facebook is blown up because guess who showed up at WrestleMania?
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm going back to the whole bounty hunter and the Eddie thing. The bounty hunter gimmick that Brian Keith has seems to be a little bit more, I don't want to sound disrespectful to Barry Windham, but a little bit more believable with Brian Keith. So, like, you put that in there with Eddie or whoever he might be aligned with at the time and doing a whole, like, thing similar to the whole lie, cheat, steal thing. A bounty hunter going off after somebody doing that sort of a deal, that would, you print your money off of that.
Oh, yeah. If Eddie was, had Eddie not passed and say he was still here today, not in WWE, and he sees the feud going on between, as it happened, Dom and Ray, and then Dom, turns on Ray, and he's like, I got something for your ass, and brings in his dad.
Oh, God, you put Eddie into that? Oh,
Dude,
my God.
That's what I'm saying. As just a manager, brother. Just to manage Dom, and that's just big heel.
Going back to that custody of Dominic ladder match.
Exactly.
Referring back to that.
They've been doing that anyway.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
my poppy type shirt, and then
dude, you got he's my poppy, or you got that he's not my poppy when referring to Ray.
Yep.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, man. I love it. He changes his name in the middle of the feud to Dom Guerrero. Man.
Oh, God.
Yes. Hurt him. Hit him where it hurts. Bam. Middle of the storyline.
I've actually heard some rumblings where they first started thinking about doing that.
Ooh.
But then someone goes,
right.
Yeah. Right now with him, with Eddie having passed that, yeah, that would be a little overkill.
Right.
But if he were still there, holy shit, go with it.
That's magic. That's magic right there. Like I say, especially with him coming out, he just comes out in a suit, man. He's like, I got something for you. And he points to the Tron and they wait. They just wait for like 20 seconds. Viva
you get that.
Rasta. Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I would lose it. Like if that was the case, like say he hadn't even been there in 5-10 years or something like that. Hey, he retired in 2010 or something. Hey, whatever. Comes back to that. Man.
Oh,
what happens here? It's kind of like when the Hardys came back at WrestleMania. Remember that, Tom?
Oh. Yeah. Wow. No, that would be pretty much that.
If Eddie were to come back in that perspective after retiring after a certain amount of time and being out of the spotlight, just think what that would be like.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That would be. There's so many possibilities. God, man. I wish he wouldn't have,
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, that's so many things could be happening right now that just his fingerprints on it is just, man, that would have been epic.
Imagine an indie tour from him. Golly.
Oh, God. Yeah. And going into that, he was in some of the first couple of Ring of Honor shows.
And he was obviously in New Japan for a little while as well. Japan.
Oh, yeah. Early part of his career. Yeah.
Real early. Yep. And then I was going to say, didn't Benoit was there too under a mask, I think? Or maybe
they both were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think
one of those guys first met up Guerrero, Benoit, I believe Malenko.
Malenko was there. Yeah.
For that Super J tournament. Here we go with the tournaments. I believe Jericho was also a part of that at one point. because he
Yeah,
would
I'm pretty
talk
sure.
about his time in Japan. He talked about his time in Mexico. They all just kind of, they all became, friends and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The one that I was thinking of was Benoit versus Black Tiger. He was going under Black Tiger at that point.
Oh yeah, when
With
he
the
had the
mask.
Black Tiger
Amazing.
mask. Yeah.
Benoit was white.
Pegasus Kid. It was either Pegasus Kid or Wild Pegasus.
Pegasus Kid.
He went
Pegasus
under
Kid.
both.
It was the one. Yep.
And it was like it'd either be Chris Benoit or he'd be Pegasus Kid. And then you got Guerrero, who would be Black Tiger, or he would be Eddie Guerrero. It just depends.
Yeah, I'm wanting to say with Benoit, it was, it switched between Wild Pegasus and Pegasus Kid.
Yeah.
One was under a mask, one was masked off.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember which one was which at the moment.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyways,
I'll look it up.
that is about all I have, actually. I don't know if y'all got anything else.
I do know that if Eddie was still around and he actually was able to have a retirement, WWE would have overcharged on a special edition championship belt for Eddie Guerrero.
They already do.
Do they?
They have one.
Do they have an Eddie Guerrero championship?
A version of that WWE title that he won.
No. They always do, like when Edge had his last match in Toronto. They had
commemorative belts.
Yes, thank you. Commemorative title, for the Undertaker.
Bray Wyatt, Undertaker.
Stuff like that, or Shawn Michaels with the winged eagle, but it's got the design up. They would do something like that and then charge $500 for it.
Oh yeah,
I feel like it would be one of those Fiend titles. You remember how the Fiend title was like $1,200 when it started?
Oh God, yeah,
that was insane, dude. I would love that. That would be awesome. But like $1,200, bro. No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's why I don't have one behind me.
Right.
Because I'd love to have a damn title belt behind me here, but with the prices of those damn things, I need some damn. I need like big money sponsors. What?
We've had this conversation recently.
Yeah, you found some places that aren't like official belts, but they make pretty damn good looking ones. I'll give them that. Significantly cheaper.
Oh yeah.
He was looking at an AEW World Title, and it was $131.
Hell, that's even better than like the official one. That's like a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the same place they got a Smoking Skull title for like $80.
Smoking Skull.
Dude, I'd jump on that.
Right. Such a good title.
Oh yeah. Well, that is about all I have before my voice completely wears out on me.
Oh, he's gonna be whispering in a minute.
Yep. My voice is pretty much done. So I might as well save it because I still got a couple interviews I'm recording this week. So yay.
Yeah, considering
my voice doesn't work.
What they were going to do fell through.
No, I was looking forward to that one.
I was too.
But WrestleMania week, I wasn't expecting to get too many.
Right.
But yeah, that is about
lozenges or a whiteboard so you can ask your questions. Either way. You know my experience with a whiteboard. So.
Yeah, I might need to have you stop over by my place and get me.
Oh, I got it. It's looming around here somewhere, man. It's low. It's probably in the closet. I'm pretty sure it's in the closet. It's such a good idea to have one of those at shows, though. Honestly.
Oh yeah. Then you don't have to worry about. Oh, I only made a sign for this.
If I ever start making like actual signs again, it's gonna be either boo or yay. I'm gonna put boo on one side and yay on the other because I'm not gonna do this making signs for random people and then not having signs for now this guy's mad at me. Nah, it's gonna be boo or yay. You're either getting either I don't like you or I love you.
I like it. I like it. But
All
like I
right.
said, that is about all I have. Until next time, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Fucking shit.
Fucking shit. Hit the button, damn it.
Shit. I'm out